We'll turn now to the latest business news. There was a productive meeting, but still no progress. That, of course, being the current status quo on the debt ceiling talks in Washington as the federal government comes closer and closer to not being able to pay its bills. Our business editor, Charles Pellegrani, is here with the latest.
Good morning, Aaron. Absolutely. And while there is debate on the exact date that this will happen, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says this could potentially take place as early as June 1st. This happening as President Joe Biden and Republican House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy held another round of talks at the White House on Monday evening. Talks that are set to continue in order to avoid a U.S. default, which is critical for the U.S. and global economic outlook as well as financial markets. Well, in a statement after the meeting, Joe Biden described the talks as productive and added that default is off the table and that the only way forward is in good faith toward a bipartisan agreement. Kevin McCarthy also used the word productive.
So we just get back from the White House. I thought the meeting was productive. I thought it was more productive than the other meetings we've had, but we still have differences. We left the meeting with directing the members and the staff to get back together, work through the night, knowing where some of our differences lie, see if there's other ideas of where we could work through. But I've been very clear ever since February 1st. I mean, here we are, June 1st being the deadline. This is not how government should work. This is not how the Republicans want it to work.
Well, the Republican demands in exchange for increasing the debt ceiling are to impose spending caps as well as new requirements in order to access Social Security programs. The slightly optimistic note left at the end of the meeting has led to a slight rebound on oil markets, both WTI and Brent crude rising on the news with hopes increasing again that the U.S. will avoid default. But now that increase has tapered off somewhat. The Brent crude trading at around $75 a barrel, close to $76 a barrel, down just 0.03% compared to the close yesterday. And the West Texas Intermediate still rising above $71 a barrel. Let's take a look at the markets now. In Europe, the major indices opened the session lower on the back of the latest developments in the debt ceiling negotiations. Those optimistic notes hit by Biden and McCarthy not really impacting the markets there. As you can see, the Paris CAC down over 1/3%, and the FTSE in London and the DAX in Frankfurt down just over 0.1%. In Asia, after initially hitting a 33-year high thanks to a weaker yen and optimism over the U.S. debt ceiling talks, well, the Nikkei also closing the session lower, down over 1/3%. Hong Kong and Shanghai both traded lower as well. The Shanghai Composite down over 1.5%. The Kospi and Seoul bucking the trend, though, closing the session up almost 0.5%. Social media app TikTok is suing the state of Montana in the U.S. after it banned it last week over national security concerns. The app, owned by Beijing-based ByteDance, described the move as unlawful and unconstitutional. They said it infringed the company's First Amendment rights to free speech and that the national security concerns raised were the purview of the federal government, not of states. This follows another lawsuit filed by TikTok creators last week. Nigeria has opened Africa's largest oil refinery. Outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari has described it as a game changer for the country as Nigeria seeks to put an end to the need to imported refined fuel products. The new plant was built by Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, at a cost of $19 billion or 17.5 billion euros. Catherine Viet has more.
It's been billed as a game changer for Nigeria and the continent. A new oil refinery built by Africa's richest man is set to start operating with the hope of alleviating Nigeria's chronic fuel shortages. Once online, the new $19 billion plant has the capacity to produce about 650,000 barrels a day, more than enough to supply the country's needs and even allow for exports, say analysts.
Once our plant is fully commissioned and it is on stream, we expect that at least 40% of the capacity will be available for export, and this will result in significant foreign exchange earning into the country.
Currently, Nigeria is Africa's largest crude producer, but it has lacked the ability to refine that oil due to pipeline vandalism and oil theft, making it necessary to import fuel. The government has been swapping crude for gasoline that it then subsidizes for the domestic market. The fuel subsidies account for nearly a third of the national budget, and the government has said they will be phased out. Officials say the new refinery in Lagos will also create tens of thousands of jobs. The complex includes a power station, fertilizer plant, and deep seaport.
Let's end in Italy, where food inflation, and specifically pasta inflation, has hit a crisis point. In April, prices went up 16.5%. They'd already gone up 17.5% the previous month. That's more than double the levels of general inflation. Well, this has forced the government to convene a crisis meeting 2 weeks ago, bringing together pasta producers and consumer associations, one of which has even suggested organizing a pasta strike, where consumers would reduce, not stop, let's not go crazy here, their pasta consumption for at least 15 days. A one-day strike actually already been organized in 2007 after prices shot up 20%. The crisis is due to the rise in wheat and energy prices caused by the war in Ukraine that have gone down since, producers selling stock that was made when the raw materials were more expensive. While consumer associations see the pasta inflation as a search for greater profits that can only be remedied by a drop in consumption or government intervention. Aaron.
Sounds like a national tragedy for Italy. Charles Pellegrin, thank you very much.